Would you like to jump into a song or would you like a hi, how are you?
I am literally in fight or flight.
Okay. Okay.
So that's where I am. I'm absolutely not ready for a song. I might never be ready for a song.
That's totally fair.
I have spent the last few minutes sort of trying to work myself down and ground myself down from the experience I just had, which for the listener was after finally sort of feeling like I've done some emotional regulation after just feeling my nerves being jacked for various reasons. So I like journaled and I'm like organizing all my things and finally I'm feeling like yes, like everything is okay and I'm even making a little list of like things that you can feel good about.
Ooh.
And I'm like, yes, you little bitch, like you got this. And then I'm like sitting to have a cup of coffee,
Hmm.
being like, you are getting rewards for regulating yourself and also doing some work and you are gonna be watching some Southern Charm while you have your coffee and just enjoy.
Great.
Out of the fucking corner of my eye, okay? Was there ever a more nefarious traitor than the peripheral vision? The
Mm.
peripheral vision, what it does, it says, wow, you thought you were living in a certain reality where it's just you and Shep, and Shep,
As a
I'll say,
character
put
on
him
Southern
where?
Charm?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's scary, compelling, and I've been having such restraint to not Google any of it. I can't Google anything about any of them because I'm
oh,
like
because
starting
you're
to
in the
season one.
past.
So I literally can't like go to their Instagram. I can't like see if they're whatever, like alive or dead, married to each other, divorced, they're each other's mom now. Like I don't know. But like
They're each other's mom
all
now.
anyhow, out of my peripheral vision shatters my moment of relaxation with something darting. And I'm saying, well, what darts but a mouse? And I'm saying, no, Becky, let's not go to worst case scenario. Let's not catastrophize and say that your worst nightmare and thing you hate and fear the most in this world, and literally you would rather have a human intruder. And I'm saying it here and now, literally. Okay?
Okay, but you're not inviting that either, just to be clear.
I'm not asking for it,
Great. Just want to be clear.
but mice for me, I've had them several times in my life in different apartments in different situations. And
Yeah.
like, it is the
Yeah.
thing for me that like, I can't, my skin, my body cannot unclench. It's like,
Mm.
I don't want to use the word traumatic, but like, I feel, I guess, triggered. I feel
Mm.
activated in a way that like I don't with other things. It's very upsetting for me because I get so scared and I'm just like, oh my God, it's like you can't relax in your body because it could pop out at any minute, you
Yeah.
know? But I'm just gonna, so I texted with my handy person.
Hmm.
He's like, you could use the electronic pet safe traps. I was like, didn't know where to go to get the traps. Like nowhere near me seem to have them, the electronic
Mm.
ones. So I ordered them from Amazon. They're gonna be here tomorrow. But meanwhile, I gotta get through the night. And
Mm.
who knows? I mean, my handy person was like, so there's probably a lot because when you see one, it means there's a lot. That is a thing. Like everyone knows that. Everyone who had mice knows that. Like there's always more, always. And like it's like by the time you see it, it's like yeah. This has happened to me what 5 times,
Five
maybe four,
times?
four.
Oh God.
And you always think you hear them. It's
Mm.
like, so
Mm.
I'm finding myself now once again activated and in the position of saying, let me now ground myself and let me now say, Rebecca,
Hmm. Becky to her friends.
you are experiencing fight or flight. This is because in cave person days or whatever the fuck, there would be a tiger chasing you right now.
Mm.
And you probably had to get your ass up a tree or something. Oh, they'll probably chase you up a tree. Basically, you're SOL no matter what, but do
Yeah.
your best, girl.
You got this.
But
Say goodnight,
in
as you
order to
say.
do that, you probably had to feel like 1,000 million bolts of electricity were
Mm.
literally shooting up your rectum at the speed of light
Mm.
and then permeating outwards and just towards so where your whole body is then filled with it to make you feel that you're so much of an electric chair, as it were, and your
Mm.
body becomes the electric chair. And and I'm saying, Rebecca, girl, do your best, okay? I'll see you on the other side or whatever. But
Mhm.
now I have a shelter with four walls and a ceiling, and
Hmm.
the only thing that can get in are mice. And mice are a much smaller threat than a tiger. And so while it's understandable and
Hmm.
you are not necessarily mentally fucking ill for having this reaction, you can also let your nervous system know that you are safe. You are not going to get eaten by a mouse. You might get spooked by one.
Hmm.
You might even get touched by one. Hopefully not. And we're going to talk a lot about why most likely I won't.
You won't.
Okay. But that is within the realm of possibility, and we are going to acknowledge it.
Okay.
But most likely, it's going to try to stay out of its way of you. And you are taking steps to address the risk, which again is lower than a tiger.
Much.
And so while you might feel spooked and that's not pleasant, and while even the possibility that you could even be touched by it, which is even less pleasant, these are all things you can survive.
Mm.
So we're going to manage our risk, and it helps a lot that we have Tina, and I'm going to stay next to Tina as much as I can because even though I called her when she came and I was trying to get her to kill the mouse, and she was literally fucking useless, just stood there staring at me. She could tell something's up because I'm acting fucking nuts, stomping around every step I take so it doesn't jump out at me, okay? Literally. So she's looking at me like now she's wondering what's up. And I can't communicate with her because she doesn't speak English. So I go to her, I look at her, I go, "You want to help?" I go, "You want to do something?" I go, "Kill." And I point to it. She looks, "Huh?" I go, "Learn the English language."
You know that dogs can't have language. They can communicate, but they can't have language. You
CF
know that.
Coco.
You know better than anyone. Are we, do we want to, what do we want? What would be good for us?
I'm gonna go get some hair elastics because I want to change my hairdo.
Okay. For me, the visual of you kind of frantically doing your hair while you're like clearly clear. I mean, it's like it's like you're a shift worker who has to clock in, otherwise the world ends. And you're like in the mirror doing your hair, and you're like, "Well, I gotta pull it together, Becky, because like otherwise we can't pay rent, and little Timmy can't eat." And you've just got this like sheer determination, like you've got that like Reba single mother song playing in the background as you like frantically do your hair, like, "I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through this. I've got the I'm a survivor. I've got the heart of a tiger, etc." While you kind of frantically do your hair. And it's really
Is it motivated? Is
no.
it like there'd be some sort of anthem?
I mean, it is compelling, but it does feel like I'm watching like someone very unwell do something they really don't want to do. And so I'm just like, maybe we don't record right now or something. Is that kind of like
No, I need to. I need this. I need this.
this is what you need? It's this?
Remember the other day, and I hope you meant it when you said this, and I did check at the time, but it sounds too good to be true that you would say something so they make me so happy that you said that you were feeling like, I don't know what, and then after the podcast, you were feeling in a better mood or something.
Hmm. I remember lying about that too, yes.
The point is, I need this because it's going to teach me that I can relax again. Because
Okay.
there's going to be a point in our conversation where I forget about the M word, hopefully, or at least it maybe not like forget. It's not going to disappear like the model of grief. I'm going to build my life around it.
Mhm.
So it won't get smaller, but my life around it will get bigger to where there's more distance between I'm not always as immediately focused on it every second of,
That
hopefully
makes
that will
perfect
happen
sense to
over the
me.
course of this. Thank you.
You're welcome. It feels like a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah, for once. How does it feel?
Not good. And I'm not, you know me, my big thing is crumbling under pressure. It's
No, your
like,
big thing is saying that your big thing's crumbling under pressure. Your real thing is excelling.
well, the producer of Jeopardy would like a word.
The metrics and audience listening team at Jeopardy who covers what's going on Twitter and like actual
Yeah,
influence and audience engagement with like a word.
that's true. That is true.
And what is success? And someone wrote their dissertation on that actual subject. So,
But on what actual subject? What is success?
how TV production
Oh,
units and business units measure success with ratings and other different non-ratings metrics.
sorry. Yes, I got kind of confused.
God forbid you remember what my dissertation's about. Anyway, don't ever ask me what yours is. Probably something gay, like gay hope or whatever. The Audacity of Gay Hope by
Wait,
Robert.
that's actually amazing. Wait, why is it that? That's really good. Did you just come up with that right now?
Yeah, you should do something with it for Queer. You should call it The Audacity of Queer Hope. Ooh, that's gonna be your next paper. Ooh, and I get some sort of special acknowledgments. And if you don't acknowledge me, I'm gonna play this for the world and tell them I came up with that cute little title. Haha.
Well,
So,
haha, I forgot to record, so we're not even recording yet.
you're lying.
I am lying.
Yeah, that's great. Write that down. Audacity of Queer Hope. Ooh, I'm even picturing at the big when the big center opens with the big glass doors and whatnot that says we have cash,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
the Rebecca Michal Pardo wing.
No, but it's gonna say they'll have some sign that says Audacity of Queer Hope, and maybe there's a bust of me
It'll be
because
busty.
of course I'm the one who said the famous
Busty.
quote.
Oh, I thought we were talking about your.
Your obsession with my breast rubber and my genitals at this point. Okay, how are you?
How am I? Well, as listeners don't know, I have been, I'm coming out of COVID. And so I'm just kind of blaming everything on a brain flaw, fog.
That was on purpose. That one was on purpose. And I can tell at this point. I know the difference between your genuine yogurt mouth. But go on, you're in a
God,
brain frog. I got you.
I can't wait until I am abducted and the captors are trying to ransom me and they're sending all of these videos and they're like, are these videos real? Are they fake? Is it AI? What is it? What's going on? And they have to call in their specialist, Rebecca M.
Yeah,
Pardo.
I'm a sort of forensic robotician at this point, professionally.
You're absolutely forensics, Robert.
And that's what it says on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, I could see you getting some hits.
And how are you now vis-a-vis the brain frog and everything else?
It's funny.
It is. They were all laughing. Ha ha
Only one of us
ha.
is laughing. One of us is fake laughing. It's you.
Okay, I'm famously just coming out of fight or flight.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Okay.
fair. Between my brain fog, got it right that time, baby, and your fight or flight, we are all over the place.
Look right into your podcast app. You'll see there's a discourse happening. Is this book a masterpiece or problematic? One's a lifelong diehard fan, the other's a first-time reader. Both are really smart and funny and attractive. Sweet Valley, Sweet Valley High. Time trends and hierarchy. Sweet Valley, Sweet Valley High. Where madness focus on their bodies. Sweet Valley, Sweet Valley High. What do they mean by all American? Sweet Valley, Sweet Valley High. No sex, just titillation.
Well, do we want to talk about, as you would probably call it, the brook? Sweet Valley High, number 67. The parent plot.
No, that's okay. So
The parent plot.
the parent plot. Are you ready for the song I've chosen to accompany this?
Yeah, I do think we're overdoing the songs. For the
Oh,
latest one, I made the executive decision to just remove it because it really didn't add anything.
what song was it?
So, Silent House. Like
Oh,
it really didn't. It's just
that's
like,
believe. I
it's
mean,
just like, yeah, it's a good song and it has to do with stuff, but like, so why are we playing songs? Like, we're not here to play songs. Like, why? Like, but yeah, go ahead.
well, I mean, with that kind of introduction, you seem really ready for this.
I am. Go.
Do you want me to? Because we don't
Unless it has
have
to do
to.
with the M word. If this song is about the M word, I'm
I
not
would
interested.
never.
Okay, if it's some sort of opening credits to freaking Ratatouille, I'm not interested. Okay, anything in that arena, no.
Okay.
No rodents. Thanks. NRT. Go.
Let's get together
And that was,
That that was a warranted and definitely valuable song choice that I applaud.
thank you for being the applauding
Perfection.
one.
Perfection.
That was, of course, Let's Get Together, as sung by Haley Mills and Haley Mills in The Parent Trap. You may know Haley Mills as Miss Bliss from Good Morning Miss Bliss and then Saved by the Bell. But long before that, she was the originator of the role of separated twins at birth in the movie The Parent Trap.
May I just make two very quick comments?
Always.
First of all, I feel like most people know for her from Parent Trap. Like, yeah, Miss Bliss, of course, but like Parent Trap.
Okay.
But I would be very curious to know from our listeners what is their primary reference for Haley
Oh.
Mills, and of course, why are you saying, oh,
Well, just because I feel like it's not among our listeners, a movie about identical twins is probably what they know her. I mean,
oh, I thought you were saying, which I think is also true, just that among our listeners, they're all in their 40s, no offense. Like, no kids know who, you know what I'm saying?
oh,
No,
sure.
no 20-year-olds are listening to this. They're more likely to know her from that because they were younger when that movie came out. They were alive. It's like, I looked it up today. It was like 1969 or something. Like,
61, you pervert.
oh my God, 61, you pervert. You made that perverted. I was just saying numbers. 1969 was a year. I'm sorry. People have even
You
sang songs
should
about the fact.
apologize.
People have even sang songs about the fact that it was a year.
Yeah, but those songs are perverted.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, sometimes you do have to talk about that year. And I don't know how you expect me to do it without making you freaking be having a you know what in your you know what.
And your second point was?
Creamsicle in your undies.
No, that wasn't it.
My second point, there's no way to know.
Okay.
Yeah, Haley Mills. Katie and I, when we were kids, we were big fans of her, and we, watched Saved by the Bell, and we loved The Parent Trap. Used to watch it all the time.
Hmm.
And something very exciting happened when it was maybe a year ago. I get a text from Katie, and I'll ask her if she lets me keep this in, and she goes, "Guess who I met today?" And she sends me a photo of her with guess who?
Haley Mills? It better
Haley
be, otherwise,
Mills.
what's the point? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, just some random guy. Like, yeah, Haley Mills. And she said she was the most sweetest, most wonderful angel that you could ever want her to be.
No
And I
surprise
said,
there.
wow. But yeah, I love Haley Mills so much. And, it's appropriate to set the stage with this song because, of course, as you alluded to when we had the cliffhanger last time, the parent plot, I mean, it's a kind of it's immediately conjuring the parent trap. And we may think of this as a little bit of a trope on the Parent Trap, and I think you'll enjoy the cover to that effect as well. Um, but yeah, do you have a six-word review?
Oh gosh, I didn't think about it.
And I didn't either. And remember the old days when we didn't even ever think about it? I sometimes do and I sometimes don't. Sometimes I have an area.
I don't even have an area. I don't have an areola.
Ooh. Ooh, I have an
Yeah.
area. I gotta think. I just have an area.
Oh, okay. What puts you ahead of me? I don't have an area. I mean, I have one, but it's not good. But it is the thing that stuck with me most from reading this book. Mr. Collins, comma, I have some questions.
Please say more.
So we'll get into it, of course, but one half of the parent trapping, Jessica is trying to set her mom up, well, both her parents, but her mom up with different guys. And she gets Mr. Collins to do a parent teacher conference, then leaves the room so that Mr. Collins can talk to Alice. And then they pretend like it's kind of not a date, but it is very clearly he asks her out on a date and they go to Chez Sam and then to a movie. And
Yep.
I had some questions. I thought, like, that's not really appropriate.
Yeah, like what would your actual questions be? What would you ask Mr. Collins if you had the chance, if he was in the room with us right now?
Okay, so I would like to ask Mr. Collins, first off, you were just as handsome as I imagined.
Hmm.
I love how you
More handsome
perch.
even in person. His eyes have a sort of sparkle and a twinkle. The descriptions don't reflect.
Yeah. It's like a young Robert Redford, I would say. And I love the way you
Hmm.
perch at the edge of that desk with a pen in hand, just ready. But my questions are basically, do you think it's appropriate to date the parent of a student?
Hmm.
Do you think it's appropriate to go on a date with the parent of a student and pretend like it's not a date?
Hmm.
Um, do you think it is appropriate that if you were on a date with the parent of a student
Hmm.
and
It's almost like
this,
they're branching questions, actually.
yes,
They sort of have to branch for it to make
yeah,
sense. Sorry, go on.
and of
Yeah.
course, the survey logic will be great. It'll just kind of pipe
Yes.
people through. If you were on a date with a student's parent and that student's other parent, who is still married to the parent you're on a date with, also show up, do you feel
Hmm.
it's appropriate for all of you just to sit at the table together? And then at the end, for you to be like, well, me and your mom are going to a movie. Anybody want to come for the second half of our date? And then when they say no, just go off on the rest of your date. You think that's okay, my friend? My colleague? My peer? What about
I almost
teachers?
want to be. How do you feel about me taking on the role of Mr. Collins and answering
Mm,
what I feel like he would say? Because
aroused.
I feel like I'm thinking what his answers would be.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, the first one was okay. Do I think it's appropriate to date my student's parent? No, which is why I never have, which is why if you're actually referring to Alice Wakefield, you may remember that I told her it when she said, "Is this a date, Roger?" Haha. I said, "No, let's just think of it as a friendly conversation between friends." So there never was a date, so I don't know to what you refer, counselor. Number two, if I went on a date with the parent of the student
Mhm.
and I saw the other parent with the kid, would I think it was appropriate to join them? Wasn't he was he the one who suggested it that they
I
join?
I can't remember who suggested it. We'll look it up. But I mean, he
Yeah,
certainly didn't
okay.
say no, I should just go home, which is what he should have
Yeah.
said.
We'll get into the details. We'll get into the details. But yeah, there's a lot of cuckoo-ness in this scenario. And I'm almost thinking that just for the purpose of clarity and exposition, it may actually make sense to connect just quickly some dots that
I
I
would
may
love
end
that.
up because you were talking about that half of the parent plot is Jessica's trying to set Alice up
Yeah,
with different guys.
that much is clear.
That much is clear, baby. You are so beautiful. You are natural.
Oh,
Okay.
and we laugh.
The reason I said that this book is in some ways kind of a trope or doing a farce in some ways or a twist on Parent Trap is because, of course, it's very clearly referencing Parent Trap. We have the identical twin blonde girls in something called Parent Plot, and we know that the parents are having conflict. So, what we assume is that they will be scheming together to get the parents back together, right? That is the natural thing that we would imagine. If they want to solve the conflict, we want to get them together. And I think when we did predictions last time, you were like, yeah, I think they're going to scheme to get them back together. And then I don't know, whatever. But I think, because like, yeah, that's what this sounds like it's going to be. But what it is Elizabeth is doing the sort of what you would expect parent trap thing of trying to like get her parents back together who are in this book separated. Jessica thinks well, I know from seeing what happens with my friends' parents that like quote unquote trial separations never end up in them getting back together. It's always just a first step in divorce. To save us all more heartache, I'm gonna try to just accept it, move on, and to help my mom from being lonely, find her a new guy so that she won't be having as much pain. So they're working at like they're both scheming, but they're working at odds.
I'd love kind of now to at least get to your area.
In my
Winky
area,
face.
of course. You know it's my area is what I call my you know what, but I would never say that word.
Oh God, get me out of
Um,
here. You are so beautiful. Now that's stuck in my head. Thanks for that.
sorry, one moment. But the challenge is that the mice is in my, of course, because it's smart, messy area. Like most of my house is pretty tidy,
Of course.
but the front area right now has some mess and some clutter. But I have to go in and out there so much, so it's so scary because I gotta touch stuff there. I gotta touch my purse or my fanny pack or my jacket, or my shoes. Like they're all there. Every second I'm gonna be like, it's gonna pop out at me. But that's why it's gonna have
Mm.
Tina.
It's good to have Tina. Can I can I lead you in a brief exercise?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to take your perspective and to understand why you're scared and why you're on red alert and why you're in fight or flight. And
You want me to think about the mouse house more scared of me than I actually am of
I
it?
understand you and I love you. And I wonder if we could just think about this poor, tiny little mouse.
Uh-huh.
And he has wandered into a
Or
home,
she, and that's the
probably
ubiquitous
he,
male. That's the ubiquitous
probably
male animal,
he,
a hallmark of sexist language, which if you would cite
probably
written
he.
in 1980 something, the Handbook of Non-Sexist Language, very au courant, you would know that you shouldn't call
Probably.
animals he unless you've actually seen their freaking dong. Did you see that mouse's dong, Robert?
Well,
Did you see
not for
that
lack of
mouse's dong?
looking. Not for lack of looking. Thank you.
Yeah, because your favorite hobby, that's what you do in your spare time. You sex mice. You check if they have freaking dog or freaking other thing.
Wow,
Give
speaking
me
of
grace.
sexist
Please give me,
language,
no,
you can't
please,
even say the
please
word for
give
the
me.
other thing. Who's the sexist?
There isn't a word for pussy that's less pussy-ish, but whereas I feel like cock is like
Please,
the
you've said that too many
correlate.
times. I
Thank
can't.
you. But see, cock is the corollary to pussy in terms of how the degree of obscene that it feels. But it's like instead of saying you don't have to say cock, you could say dick, you could say dong, you could
What
say
about
boner, you could,
coochie?
you know what I mean? Coochie's okay, but I guess coochie I never connected to. It feels so cute. I just
Mm,
don't like it.
okay.
So, but thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, that level of thing is perfect.
So if we could
So I'm a
just,
little mouse. I'm a little mouse. I live in a house with a very hot woman.
you're terrified. You can't
Yep.
even think about whether the woman is hot or not. Although periodically you do get a little stirring in your mouse dong.
Plus, she calls herself a death doula. And since I have a misconception, like most people, when I hear the word death doula, I think it means just like their job is like killing people. So she's probably like a professional killer. She's basically a trained assassin. I'm
That's,
thinking, dumb little
yeah.
mouse doesn't know what a death doula is. Obviously, is it on my Instagram reading all my informative little
Well, his little paws, it's hard to scroll.
there. We don't know. Do not misgender the mouse. We have to call it there.
I
I
don't have
can't
to do
believe you,
anything.
the president of Qui, the president of Qui, $500 million or whatever, is saying, insisting on calling a mouse he. Okay,
I just,
grandma. I'm gonna
the
call you
way,
grandma. How does that make you feel?
A, I love it. So that's not going to work. That's a compliment in my culture. And B,
Fine.
the idea, I mean,
I can't win. I can't win.
that's true. I think it's probably healthy. It's confused. It's scared. It doesn't know what's going on. You are literally 3,000 times bigger than this little guy.
But size isn't everything. And yes, it could be scared of me being big,
And loud.
but it
You're
can,
so loud.
but but it can dart around and surprise you and sneak up on you, and like that's scary.
Right, but so can I just, if we take a second kind of to bring the fallacy back down, it's not trying to scare you or dart out at you. It is trying to survive in a world that is not set up for its success. It has been trapped in a house with a ginormous supermodel and her gorgeous, if a little strangely
Daft.
responsive dog. Daft, definitely daft dog.
Tina's band would be called Daft Dog.
What's that? Oh, like Daft Punk?
Yeah.
Eh, okay. We could workshop that. It's not great. A better joke would have been that Tina's band would not be called Dead Mouse because that's
No,
actually
but
a
the
band.
joke, no, but the only reason I brought up bands was to use Daft because I said she was daft.
Right, but then she didn't kill the mouse, and Dead Mouse is a.
I'm getting mad at you for talking to me about this. Go back
That's
to the mouse,
fair.
please.
Okay, sorry. This scared, poor, weird little mouse who doesn't want to be here.
Why is it weird? Why is it weird?
Well, because it's not doing mouse things. It's like not out in the field getting bopped on the
Yeah,
head
that's
or
what
what
it
have
should
you.
be. This is
Exactly.
my home. Like, this is my home. Like, I want to tell it what that Reiki woman at that event I went to said you should say when you see ghosts in your house, which is like, this is my home. Go away. Go to the light. You are not welcome here.
And that makes sense. I think one thing, so you have watched training videos for the last who knows how long, basically every minute of your being awake, about home invasions, about what to do in a crisis, about
Hmm.
hiding bodies, about murder, etc.
Hmm. Right. I've been training for this. I've been training for this. I've been training for an intruder.
But one of the things is that that training is actually not appropriate for the current situation in which you actually have a very scared, very stupid little animal who doesn't want to hurt you, who is not trying to hide your body, who is not going to
Hmm.
chop off your dong and feed it to a Rottweiler or Tina.
Yeah. It freaking wishes.
It doesn't wish. That's the thing. It doesn't wish. It doesn't wish. It doesn't have malevolence in its heart. It's just a scared, stupid little creature who had the unlucky misfortune of wandering inside when it didn't want to.
But even if it's not trying to scare me, which I completely understand,
Okay.
it can still scare me just by accident because it's just running around trying to, by very benevolent heart, just get out or whatever,
Hmm.
protect itself, get away from us. So till it can friggin' munch on our raisin bran or whatever the fuck it's doing in my house. But like, it's still just by virtue of its presence is spooking me.
I agree with that. I can understand that. Are you being
Okay.
me, being extra gay? What are you doing?
What? No, I'm trying to shake out of my body the anxiety.
It was
Okay.
giving like me being extra gay. We still haven't even gotten to your area, let alone your 6 word
I
review.
don't have one. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Nothing is more you than you screaming, I don't have one. Oh yeah, I do. Never mind. Sorry. Here it is. Here it is.
My 6 word review is 3 words. Trap 3 ways. Okay. There's 3 kinds of trap today that we're dealing with. One is, of course, the parent trap,
Sure.
which this book is implicitly troping on. The second is the mouse traps that are going to arrive on my home from Amazon Prime tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
And the third is another movie that has the word trap in it that I have realized has themes that in storyline from this book,
Can I guess it?
which
Is it something I
is
could guess? Could I guess? Is it something I guess, or is it not something I could guess? Is it something I guess?
if you haven't, then I don't think you will because I literally just sort of said it. Like the movie is called Trap.
The
Trap.
movie's just called Trap?
Yeah.
Never heard of that movie.
It came out like this year.
Wait, is it the
It's
concert
freaking
movie?
yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan with freaking what's his name? Josh. What's his name? The
Dwammel?
hot guy.
He
No,
was married
no,
to
maybe it's
Fergie?
not Josh. No, no, brown hair hot guy. He's a little bit like from our time. Brown hair
Crystal.
hot guy. Can someone just Google
Yeah, I'm Googling. You keep going.
Google trap Shyamalan
I
brown
mean,
hair guy?
I think if I just do Trap movie, it'll come up.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's the guy from it's Scott Speedman from Felicity, is it?
What? No.
No, it's Josh Hartnett.
Oh my
Who?
God.
Sorry, that must have been really
Robert.
hurtful for you.
No, but this is my fault because I should have remembered that when you Google, you literally just like squint your eyes and look at whatever is literally it says at the very top. You won't scroll down even half a second.
Won't even click on
And
the word cast. I literally was just like,
that's
oh, doesn't that look like Scott
no.
Speedman a
And
little?
it's the laziness is
Doesn't it look
non
a
for
little like
real.
Scott
Okay.
Speedman?
No, it doesn't. And when it comes to Scott Speedman, you're not, it's, can't just put any Tom, Dick, or Harry in front of my face and it looks like Scott Speedman. No.
Okay.
Um, Anyhow, so this book also has themes from that movie, Trap, M. Night Shyamalan, Josh Hartnett, and M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, I think, is like the main pop star girly, I think. Whatever. Anyway, let me just tell you really quick,
I think you actually
because it
already
is
told me the
relevant.
plot before, but you can tell it again.
I probably have, it's fucking whatever, dumb. And could you be present?
So her
Okay.
name is Salika Knight.
Thank
She
you.
plays Lady Raven.
Yes, Lady Raven, of course, the famous pop star. So the marketing for it and the description, whatever of it, is like concert, like big concert stadium, like 500,000 people, like all the exits closed and there's a killer inside or something. And it's like looking at Josh Hartnett who's there with his daughter. He shows up and they're like, there's a killer. Like he like hears from one of the t-shirt vendors that there's a police presence there because there's like a killer and the police are planning some sort of trap to like catch the killer or something in the stadium. And you're like, ooh, like, is Josh Hartnett going to be able to save his daughter and all this big crowd from the killer? And then the big, like, twist is like, actually, Josh Hartnett
Is the
is the
killer.
killer.
Yeah,
And
duh.
he's actually, but it's like, so, but you are kind of like rooting for him because he's hot. So you do kind of, it doesn't end up making a difference because either way you want him to kind of get out safe or whatever. Anyhow, that's that movie, and that and everything about it is fucking stupid for the same reasons that part of the plot of this book is stupid, which is that like basically they figure out that this guy James Knapp or whatever is like sabotaging Ned in his mayoral run, and like then the way that Ned finally addresses it when he gets this information is that he gets the police to show up at his rally or whatever, his debate or his talk. There's a huge crowd and he like makes a big speech in front of everyone, sort of gradually revealing that this guy James Knapp, who's like in the audience and supposedly his funder or support or whatever, is a criminal. And he like gradually reveals this in this very dramatic way. And it's like Elizabeth saw James Knapp sort of weaving through the crowd trying to get out, and you're like, this feels unnecessary. And it's
Yeah.
like, but thankfully the police get him. So because Ned had to have a fucking stunt, they had to do this in the most like inefficient way. They had to give him a heads up. Like it's literally him being like, "Hey James Knapp, you have a million people that you can hide behind. The police are coming for you. Now's your time to get away." Why did he need the warning?
Oh, true.
Why? It's so stupid. Anyhow, there's a lot of parallels to why that movie's dumb, because it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that the police would like have a stakeout to get a murderer when there's a million people there. It's like, why do you need to do that? You know who he is, just like go find him some other time. Like it's crazy. But
Now I
whatever.
want to watch this movie.
And
I
I
wonder
guess if
how old
you
he is in it.
oh no, but he's hot.
He's 46. He doesn't look that hot now.
I'm not saying he's the hottest person in the world.
He doesn't have features, really.
I never said he did. Should we open the book? Do you want to see the cover? Do you want to guess the taglines?
Oh,
Should we invite Bella Hadid?
I don't get it.
Oh, I said that to my friends in a group chat the other day. They didn't get it either. It's like a meme. It's a joke. It's like, oh, should we have a party? Should we invite everyone we know? Should we tell Bella Hadid? Should we? It's funny. It doesn't matter. Okay. Do you want to guess the tag? I can't. Do you want to guess the tagline?
Um, can Elizabeth and Jessica bring their family back together?
More punchy.
What's more punchy?
Do you want do?
You know I do.
Do did it do?
Is it a question?
No. It's an exclamation point. A declaration, you could say.
I got nothing.
The battle is on.
No. There's no battle and it isn't on. What?
Like they're saying Jess and Liz are in battle against each other because they're opposing plots. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think it really makes sense, but I'm not having the reaction you're having. Like I don't find it like
You're angry the way
it
I'm
doesn't
angry.
what? No, it
Is it-
doesn't feel wrong to me.
Battle is
I like it
on.
actually. I feel like it's highlighting the tropiness of it, you know?
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that the book doesn't have that much actual head-to-head of Liz and Jess being like, you think this and I think this, and the battle's on, and we're going to try to do different things.
Like showdown. It's not an
Yeah.
explicitly acknowledged conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
more
exactly what I was thinking of.
yeah. Well, I mean, that being said, to use the famous transitional phrase favored by reality TV producers such as those of The Bachelor, helps editing. Do you want to take a guess at what's on the back?
Oh, is that being said, the transition?
Hmm.
Huh.
You'll see it a lot on like shows like The Bachelor or whatever, where people have to like give little monologues or give little speeches or whatever, so they can cut stuff together. They make them say shit like that all the time.
Hmm. On the
Um,
back, I'm thinking, is it showdown dot dot dot?
mhm. Scheming sisters, dot, dot, dot.
That's the plot of every book. That's fine.
Okay, I guess for me, I liked it because I felt like with parent plot, battle, scheming sisters, and then you're going to see the cover. I felt like all of that was sort of saying, you know, are they scheming together or is it a battle? Oh, they're actually
Oh,
scheming at odds. Like to me, it's
hmm.
interesting, but maybe it's because I also have the context of the cover. You want
I'd
to
love to
see?
get the context of that cover.
Like, I feel like
Huh.
this is genius.
We've got Liz and Jess standing back to back. Jess is kind of smirking knowingly with a hand under her chin, kind of looking out at us. Very easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Liz is having a rougher go of it. She is hugging herself. And to me, and maybe it's just my untrained eye, she looks like she's been crying. Like she
Mhm.
looks a little puffy around the eyes.
Yes.
Hmm,
Yes.
thank you. Somehow Jess looks like 30 and like kind of a career woman on the rise in kind of like God, why am I blanking on that movie that I love so much?
Working girl?
Yes, Working Girl. Thank you. Well,
Look at me
um,
having a queer coded reference
good
in
for
line with the
you.
themes of our podcast.
AI will have a field day. Um, and Liz kind of looks like a boxcar child or something. She just looks sad and like a teenager. She looks young and Jess looks old. Jess looks like she almost looks like she could be on the morning show or something. And Liz looks very, very sad. That's hard for me.
Interesting.
Can you give
I
me some?
I see some of what you're saying, and I have some other readings. Like, I agree, Liz looks so kind of drawn and sad, and I agree there's like a puffiness or like a drawnness to her face. And also the way she has her arms around herself, it feels sort of protective, and
Hmm.
her hand is maybe sort of clasping her arm in a little bit of a tight way. Maybe there's some tension there. Um, the way I read Jessica's appearance, I see what you mean about the sort of morning show. Like you totally could see her having a mug of coffee in the other hand. Maybe also because the dress is very like Kelly Ripa coded type morning show host dress.
Yes.
But when I saw it, my thought was she is to me giving on the cover like when I see that hand kind of in
Hmm.
a fist like under the chin thing, it makes me think like child actor, like it's like one half of
Oh.
it's like what you would think the Parent Trap should be. And I didn't Google the Parent Trap, cut poster or whatever, but like or like in the Olsen twins movies or whatever, you'd see them
Hmm.
plotting, you'd see them both like this. It's like that child actory, like the two of us or whatever, and twin
Yeah.
thing. So I almost read it as like she's the half of the cover that's like the Parent Trap version, but then Liz is the sort of twist on it, showing how
Hmm.
like you might be expecting from the title for this to be, and from what you may know from the previous, like you think maybe they're going to work together to fix the parents' conflict, but it's a broken is palindrome or a broken double or a broken old us would have a word for it because Liz is like, no, this is not fun. Or we're not, this is not what you, I don't know, this is serious or whatever. And not that Jessica's attitude, not that Jessica doesn't feel serious about it. I think she's very serious. It's just she has a different approach. And we see in the book this debate about like Jess says to Liz, we better just accept that it's over. And if we want mom to be happy, the best way is to like help her find someone else or whatever. And Liz is like, no, no, you can't think like that. You have to think positive. They will get back together. And Jessica leaves thinking like Elizabeth didn't understand. She had a very different idea of what it meant to be thinking positive.
Hmm.
Okay. I guess I feel like we've kind of already said the plot.
What we haven't
Plot.
done is kind of given any kind of narrative arc because what we've
Yeah.
got is three books that really go together. We've got Trouble at
Hmm.
Home, Who's to Blame, and now the Parent Plot. And in like basically the way that we've been introduced to what's happening is Mom and Dad Wakefield are fighting and it's really hard. Mom Wakefield's getting more involved in work. Dad Wakefield, and I'm sorry for bringing this up for the third episode in a row or the sixth episode in a row or whatever, but it does come up again. Dad Wakefield provides legal counsel to Peter Santelli, Maria Santelli's dad. Peter's running for mayor. He gets accused of accepting bribes. They try to clear his name. They can't clear his name because you can't prove you didn't accept bribes. That's not really a thing. Um, and so he has to drop out. And so Ned steps in, which breaks up the family. Um, and then we've got a whole book
Sorry,
where,
meaning Ned's running for mayor.
yeah, so Ned steps in to run for mayor, breaks up the family. Then we've got a whole book in the middle where basically it's just like, yeah, they keep doing that. Like
The parents separate. He gets an apartment.
Liz blames herself.
The kids fight a lot.
Liz fake runs away, which if you can call running away, going to your friend's house for a single night, um, friend slash lover. I don't want to minimize what they have.
And
Yeah, of course.
then that book ends with like the parents aren't back together. They're still separated and it's left ambiguous or whatever. We talked about how it was ambiguous, but there's like evolution or progress in the sense that by the end there's some coming together and some conversation of like we need to express ourselves and the parents apologize for not talking about it with them more and they all sort of the kids stop fighting with each other. Like there's some reconciliation between the kids and things just feel a little bit more smoother and a little bit more warm, even
Mhm.
though they're still separated now.
And then this book is like Jess is going hard trying to get her dad elected.
And so
And
is Liz.
yeah, and Liz is also going hard trying to get her dad elected. And and we've already kind of covered lots of the other stuff, which is basically like them trying to get their parents together or together with other people. And then in the background, Maria Santelli overhears Knapp on the phone doing the thing that people love to do in these books, but also in like all of these kinds of books where they're like, I'm going to tell you exactly what the plan is. We said we wouldn't tell anyone. So I'm alone here at night. So I'm just going to say everything into this phone. And she's listening in and finds out that Knapp um, basically is supporting mayoral candidates so that his development at the beach at Sweet Valley goes through. And Santelli figured out what was going on and like tried to put a stop to it and was like, this is corrupt. And so they submarined him by giving him a bribe and then spreading rumor that the bribe was given.
And by the way, so weird that Peter never mentioned that to Ned. Question mark. It's like the big thing that isn't answered for me at the end of
Yeah.
this book is like, oh, so Peter knew? Because like what you think it is that he didn't realize they were using him this way or whatever. And it's like, no, then they're like, no, my father, I guess, told him he wouldn't do that. And that's why he set him up or whatever, framed him, right? Because he wouldn't go along with it. So he never mentioned that to A, his lawyer,
Who is Ned?
B, right? When Ned was trying to defend him, successfully, by the way, whatever. Or B, when Ned, who supposedly them two are still on great terms, goes for mayor in his place.
Yeah, he's not like
Doesn't
stay
mention
away from
it?
Knapp. He doesn't mention it at all.
Dumb.
So then Liz and her team of merry investigators breaks into the office late at night and gets or it's actually it's the afternoon, but it's raining. So it's like dark out. And then makes copies of these plans, which they even in the book are like, but it's not illegal to have plans, so why would that matter? And then they find the check stub with an account number written on it. So that at least can show that Knapp is the one who made the $10,000 deposit into Santelli's bank account.
Which presumably whatever forensic accountants and lawyers couldn't track down what account that transfer was made from.
Yeah, it makes
But
no
they went in
sense.
his office and found it left on a table for them.
Um, but then we get the stunt at the end where Ned says, I'm glad we're all here. I'm not running for mayor anymore because of all the bad things that Knapp was doing. Let's have Peter Santelli run again now that we've cleared his name because Knapp is going to jail.
And you're like, this makes no sense because he says this whole speech about, well, we'd all love to think that Sweet Valley was only the nice people, but sometimes people are trying to come and care too much about economic development and ruin what is great and take advantage of our nice town. And if someone tried to take advantage of me and that man is in the audience right now, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, so I can guarantee you, you will never be associating me with such things. And he's like, because I cannot do this with honor now that this has happened. And you're like, why?
Huh?
What? He's like, I
What?
can no longer do this with honor. And it's like, why? You yourself just said you didn't do anything wrong. You'll never do anything wrong. You've never done anything wrong. And you just cut the bad guy. And you're telling the truth about the fact that you before were working with him. And you're basically saying, but I didn't know this and I stopped it before, whatever. And there doesn't really seem to have been anything bad that happened or anything that you're implicated in. So what's the problem, yo? It's like he
And
just wanted to, it's like he knew he would lose or something. So he just wanted to get this fucking slow clap in front of Al. I mean, like, it's like literally, it's like one person stood up and started clapping, then a second followed, and then like suddenly, and you're like, why?
yeah. And then so Santelli can run, but it's like actually, if Santelli could run, you could certainly still run. You're both tainted in the same ways, which is not at all. I think more likely, I don't think he realized he was going to lose. I think he was like, oh shit, this is like a real job. I don't want to do a real job. I'm just a handsome potential lawyer. I don't want to do this. And so he's like, I'm going to back out. I need to make some kind of stunt. So it's not just that I don't want to do this.
I feel like something must have happened that we didn't see. Like, I don't think there's, ugh, it will be amazing. We should write it, but I don't think there's ever like a Ned's secret diary. But like, if there
Thank
were,
God.
I feel like there would be something that explained why he changed his mind there. I feel like something happened, you know? Like maybe
No.
like someone's blackmailing him and or there's some secret he doesn't want to come out or you know what I mean? Some reason why he dropped out because it just doesn't seem consistent for me, but whatevs.
Whatevs indeed.
It's also like so annoying, whatever.
What? Come on, we've barely been talking about the book. It's only an hour and a half in.
There's this part where Liz, because she's like tucked away behind these cardboard boxes in their makeshift office or whatever, doing this election grunt work stuff, like volunteer stuff, or like stuffing envelopes, whatever. So she overhears Knapp come and talk to her dad when he thinks she's not there. And he doesn't say anything criminal or whatever, but she basically hears him pressuring her dad to like, instead of talking about the environment at his Seco Lake speeches, should talk about the economy and jobs and whatever. And she's disappointed when, even though he initially resists, he ultimately acquiesces to this guy. And there's this very interesting line where she thinks to herself, there's a dissonance. It's like she was confused. She'd always thought of her father as an honorable man. But the way that he just let this guy steamroll him, or the way he just agreed to this against his principles or whatever, it didn't seem very honorable. She really couldn't understand it. I don't know. It's an important moment for her to be like realizing that the behavior of this parent that she has a certain vision of is maybe not what she thinks. But then at the end, he literally ties it up with a bow. It's like when he then says, I couldn't continue this with honor. It's like, oh, wow. So now he's restored to being the honorable Ned that we all know. And of course, he's not flawed.
But it's like we all saw what you did when we were under the cardboard boxes.
Under the cardboard
Under
boxes, under the cardboard. Whatever. There's
the
something
cardboard, cardboard. Is that what you're going for?
cardboard, cardboard.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, when your dad is running for mayor of Spring Valley. And you want to feel that you are close to him, even when you feel ambivalent. There's one thing you can do. Down at the cardboard. Okay. Engine, boat, whatever. So that's the plot. Okay. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now what are we gonna do? We gotta probably really be hustling. We got on the phone an hour and 15 minutes ago.
If not longer. It certainly feels longer. Elizabeth Wakefield brought the morning issue of Sweet Valley News into the kitchen and handed it to her mother. Morning, Mom, she said. The paper's late this morning. I heard Tom throwing it on the porch, so I went out and got it. Alice Wakefield, who was sitting at the table drinking a cup of coffee, smiled as she took the paper. Thanks, honey. The kitchen door opened again and Elizabeth's twin sister, Jessica, breezed in. We're getting our French quiz back today, she announced ominously. Quel horror! Mrs. Wakefield laughed as she opened the front section of the newspaper. You'll survive, Jess. Elizabeth helped herself to a blueberry muffin and orange juice. It was a normal breakfast, like 1,000 others at the Wakefield house. Normal, that is. Except for the fact that Mr. Wakefield wasn't there.
I wonder if at the time
Mm-hmm.
it was a cliffhanger and people didn't know if they were going to be back together or not. So that when they
Definitely.
started then reading this one, you're like, well, is it a normal morning? Is it normal blueberry muffins and orange juice? Is Mr. Wakefield is that how you felt?
Yeah, of course, 100%, without question.
Except that I told you last time it still continues,
But I
right?
don't normally listen when you talk.
Yeah, I'm woman.
That's if that were only the problem. Um, I didn't have a ton of engine driving the boat, but coincidentally, earlier yesterday, before I read this book, I turned to my husband and said, "You know what would be a great drag name? Raquel Surprise. Isn't that a good drag name?"
I thought we were gonna say like Madame Ovary or something.
We'll get there. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll get there. But Kel Horror, like Raquel Horror, is also not a terrible drag name. And I did laugh out loud
Mhm.
when she said, "We're getting our French quiz back today." Kel Horror.
Jessica had some lines in this book that were
She's the best. She's the best in the biz.
top notch. Just symbolically speaking, like Elizabeth bringing the news into the house and giving it to her mom, it's like bringing the world of politics or current events into the personal, into the domestic, into the home. And like, this is the book where those things sort of finally come together, kind of thing. I think it also could be symbolizing her wanting to bring that world to her mom's attention because she keeps wanting to tell her mom about like what's going on with dad and he says this and he gave this speech and then she brings her mom to the mall to see his speech. It's like she wants her mom to pay attention to this.
Even if it's not the political, it could also just be like the real world crashing into our idyllic Sweet Valley.
Oh, so the sort of sphere of public discourse is more real than the domicile, and isn't that the kind of masculinist take? Wow, the public is more real than the private.
Oh, this is
Wow,
exhausting.
dark. That's dark, isn't
Yeah.
it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but if holding you accountable to your own words is exhausting, I mean,
So one of my absolute favorite sketches on SNL is Cecily Strong being the girl you wish you hadn't started talking to at a party. Do you know this or
that's so
no?
rude.
Would you know it or no?
I don't think so, but I'm mad at you. What? I
So
mean, I could tell from the name of it, I'm not gonna like it.
so she's like drunk and she's so funny because she brings up all of these like hard topics, but she's not actually informed about anything. So she just, I mean, you actually just have to watch one. But so you are like her if she weren't drunk and she actually knew what she was talking about. You have to watch one. It's like looking at a funhouse mirror.
Now you really seem like you're in the Christmas spirit.
You mean the Christmas spirit? Oh, right. You don't care about Jesus because you worship Hallmark.
Oh boy.
And on that note, we're moving forward.
People being rude to Maria.
Yeah, I had a question about this. So Winston says people are acting really snotty to Maria. She thinks her father was framed, they never took the money, but people in school are treating her like some kind of outcast. Does that feel, I'm trying to figure out if that felt real. Like if I was in high school and my friend's dad was running for mayor and he was embroiled in this scandal, would we know about it? Probably, I guess. I guess our parents would tell us. And would we treat her like an outcast? I just couldn't get a read.
Yeah, the question is like how much quote unquote damages has
Yeah.
actually would actually be done in this situation where he was running, he was accused of bribery. The case was thrown out because there was never enough evidence of there having been a bribery, and
Which
then
is
he
the
just
worst
dropped out
thing
of
that
the
can
race.
happen to a case. The worst thing that can happen to a case is to get it thrown out.
And then he just dropped out. Like, how much actual sort of damage would that do to all of their reputation and how much would people care? It seemed a bit much to me,
Okay.
but maybe in a small town, people are more, these things are more dramatic or something. I don't know. Or maybe, I guess I could see it a little bit more as like maybe her social status had been padded. It had been sort of inflated or whatever for a couple of months or however weeks or whatever long as
Oh,
it's like there, she's been getting some extra attention and then it's going down.
regression to the
Like
mean, kind of.
people like Jessica who were paying a lot of attention to her suddenly don't care or something. But like I don't think she's like being bullied. I don't think people are taking a lipstick and writing on her locker like bribe taking
Daughter.
slut of a man's daughter or whatever.
We get introduced to Terry Knapp, a character we absolutely do not need, but is his name John Knapp?
James.
James Knapp. Those names are the same to me. James Knapp's nephew, who seems like he's going to be a big character, but is really just a bit character who helps bring down his uncle. I thought he was gonna be somebody's love
Yeah.
interest. He's not.
I guess the reason he exists is because he has a key to his uncle's, like as a character, is because he has a key to his uncle's office. And so they set him up as a character as like, even though he's this guy's nephew, he also hates him. And like, this guy's actually seems nice and has integrity. And he like openly is like, yeah, my uncle's kind of a dick and he's very clearly uncomfortable around him. And then he's the one who, then when they find out this is going on, he's like, well, I have a key to his office. So you can go look for stuff. We can go look for stuff there. So Liz has brought Maria. Like Liz has noticed that Maria's down and she's like, maybe something that would cheer her up would be to like help volunteer for my dad. And I'm reading this being like, that feels weird. But then Liz also has the reaction to herself of like, but wait, is it weird? Is it weird for me to ask her to campaign for my dad when like the only reason he's running is because her dad dropped out because of this big scandal? And then she's like, well, I guess I'll just ask her. And then Maria's like, okay.
It was so weird. I was on that same exact journey, except with Liz, except that when Liz was like, wait, is it weird? I was like, yes, it's weird. Just don't
Yes.
ask her. And then she asked her anyways. And then the very first thing that happens, Maria comes in with Liz, and James Knapp is like, looks like we can't get rid of you. We know that you know how to lose. Let's see if you can learn to win. He says this to a high school girl or young woman, I guess, but still
Yeah, they lay it on pretty thick.
too thick. And I like it thick, but that is much too thick.
No comment.
We get the kind of head to head of Liz saying they're going to get back together and Jess saying no, they need to move on. And Jess is trying to brainstorm people. And Jeremy Frank is a potential guy, which is wild because the last time we heard about Jeremy Frank, of course, he is flailing helplessly from side to side. Additionally, though, she was trying to date him. And the idea of trying to set your mom up with someone that you were trying to set yourself up with just feels so gross to me.
Was it flailing or flopping?
Oh, God.
I think it was flopping.
I hate it.
Well,
Then she thinks about Mr. Fowler. She's really just kind of running through the available men in her orbit.
yeah. Oh gosh, I loved when Liz keeps trying to like again sort of show off or peacock on Ned's behalf in front of Alice. And so one of the things she mentions is he wants to work on a policy about homeless people too. He's considered sleeping out on the sidewalk sometime to see what it's like. Mrs. Wakefield sat up abruptly and pulled her towel around her shoulders. She's coming out of the pool. That sounds a bit like a publicity stunt to me, she said in a dry tone. I'm like, yes, Alice.
Agreed.
Yes. Like, when did Alice become cool? It's like somehow this marital shit has like brought out her
Inner warrior.
voice. It's brought out her voice. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like I like when she speaks her mind. She's articulate and she has the right opinions a lot of the time. And she actually sees a lot of bullshit for what it is. Like, let's get more of that.
Mm-hmm. We get the first phase of Liz's plan, which is actually kind of, I don't know, I don't hate it. She calls her dad and then pretends
Yeah.
like the phone is getting screwed up. And so she's like kind of, and she's running her, doing a little Foley work. Is it coming through? That's going to be a pleasure for you to edit, I'm sure. Um, and so she pretends like the line is getting cut and then hangs up. And then when he calls back, she doesn't pick up so that her mom does pick up so that they can talk. I just love, even from just Alice's side of the conversation, you can tell how annoying Ned is. Oh, I'm fine, thanks. How are you? Yes, that's going fine too. How is the campaign going? Right, yes, the girls told me. No, I did not. Ned, let's not have that argument again, all right? I'm just exhausted. No. Okay. Yes, I'll tell her to call you. Bye. Like you can just, could you
Oh
imagine
my God.
having to
It's
talk to
like
Ned on the phone?
she always is trying to be the one being pleasant in these interactions. And like he's always picking fights. Always. We've seen it so many times.
He's the worst.
You know who I picture them as? My so-called life parents when they were having their shit. Remember? Graham and the dad's name was Graham and the mom's name was Don't Tell Me, Don't Tell Me.
I would never tell you because I don't know. It's not Patty.
Well, why? Yes, it is. Perfect. Thank you.
Is it really?
And that's why this works, because I knew Graham and you knew Patty.
I have a thing
I'm
for
so
strong women, and
confident.
you're obsessed with men.
I'm not 100%, but I'm so confident I don't feel the need to Google because I'm almost 100 that it was Patty. Don't Google. No,
I
Robert.
won't.
Let's let ourselves, wow, can't have even any tolerance for uncertainty. Even 1%. Even 1% uncertainty you couldn't tolerate. 1% you couldn't tolerate, Robert. And you expect me to tolerate the 25% chance I have a mouse up my anus in 24 hours from now?
So A, it is Patty, and B, I would put those odds way higher than 25%. Are you kidding?
Don't joke about that.
I have to. If we don't joke about it, how are we going to move on from it?
All right, Madame Bovary.
So they're reading Madame Bovary, which have you read Madame Bovary? I haven't, but I have read a Wikipedia about it.
Well, you
Basic.
read the first line of Wikipedia that
No,
showed up in
no.
Google.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
you actually clicked in. You
I
clicked
clicked in
in.
and read the entire plot. That's a gift from me to you, Rebecca Pardo.
Thanks.
And basically, long story short, literally, she like cheats and then dies,
Gets punished.
kills herself. Um, what I think is wild is Collins is giving back papers. Jessica gets a D. He, in front of everyone, says, maybe next time? Which is an insane thing to say to someone. You're getting a D on a paper, and the teacher, as they're heading him out, goes, maybe next time.
With an apologetic look.
Patronizing little schmuck.
Hmm. And then he asks the class, what would make a proper, conventional lady like Emma Bovary have a love affair? Here she is, well provided for, with a good position in society, everything she could want. Why would she risk losing all that?
And then Sandy Bacon, my favorite thing about having breakfast on the beach, raises her hand and says, because love is more important than all those things. If you don't feel love, nothing else matters. And suddenly a spark goes off, and Jessica's like, oh, Collins could fuck my mom. So she asked for a parent teacher conference. Before we get to the parent teacher conference, she's at the campaign office, and her job is to call people in Sweet Valley and ask if they're registered to vote. And just kind of to herself, she makes this amazing joke. Talk about a huge phone bill, she said with a laugh. This like great callback to the last two books where she was calling into that 900 number line and racking up a huge phone charge. It's just hilarious.
So Liz gets Alice, she comes up with some reason to get Alice to go to the mall with her. And because she knows Ned's going to be giving a speech and she thinks Alice is going to see it and fall in love all over again. And so Alice listens for a couple of minutes to his speech, and he's talking about his hopes for Sweet Valley. And I want a Sweet Valley with a strong economy that can do business. And I want a Sweet Valley that's going to prosper to the 21st century. And she has a skeptical expression. I want, Alice repeated. She arched her eyebrows. I guess I've heard enough. Let's go, Liz. And that felt very true to life, I guess, or like it felt very realistic that the lens that she reads his speech through is his selfishness because that's her experience with him personally. So that's naturally what stands out to her about it. That felt very insightful.
And the fact that she immediately knows that like Liz has schemed to get her there at this exact time. Interestingly, the other thing is Liz was trying to get her there at the end of the speech so that they could kind of. And what's funny is there was a technical delay, which meant that she actually heard some of the speech. And it's just funny to me that like, oh, her plan was foiled because we actually had to listen to Ned. And once you listen to Ned, you can't imagine getting back together with him.
Yeah, she wanted to show up just as like he stops speaking. There's applause, and we get to see his tight little butt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Lean.
it's hilarious. I felt it was a very actually beautiful moment when in chapter 5, as we said, Elizabeth overhears a conversation between James Knapp and the dad because she's kind of hidden in this kind of makeshift area behind the cardboard boxes. But if I could read it.
You're not going to sing it in the style of kind of a under the
what?
boardwalk. Your famous style. Ready when you are.
Elizabeth felt like a little kid in the homemade fort. Just behind her, beyond the cabinet, she could hear her father's chair creak. Okay, Elizabeth
I didn't
felt like
hate
a
it. I gotta say, I didn't hate it.
So Elizabeth and Maria initially are sitting among the cartons, okay? Cross-legged. Elizabeth felt like a little kid in a homemade fort. Just behind her, beyond the cabinets, she could hear her father's chair creak from time to time as he moved around. And then Maria gets up and goes get a drink, whatever. So it's just Liz there, and she falls into a rhythm and it's quiet. And even before she and her dad start talking, that was so potent for me because it's like this small moment where it says she feels like a little kid in a homemade fort. It's like she feels safe. She feels a closeness to her dad. And I think what she also feels is his kind of ambient presence. The
Mm.
fact that, like, when it says just behind her, she could hear her father's chair creak from time to time as he moved around. That's the kind of ambient presence of a parent that you only miss when you don't have it.
Mm.
Like that's the kind of thing you would take for granted if he was in the home, right?
Mm.
And like she's had so much distance from him that to just have the physical closeness and hear the evidence of his presence, even if they're not interacting, makes her feel safe. I was like, that's so beautiful. That's such a great illustration of that. And then it's the most heartbreaking thing in the world when they actually do start talking and they're still not looking at each other. They're still in their separate spaces. They can't see each other. Kind of love is blind, like the pods. But it's so sad. How's it going? Her father called out after a few minutes of silence. His voice carried easily over the row of filing cabinets. Fine, Dad. It's pretty mindless, really. There's a silence. Then he continues, how are you, Liz? Is everything all right with you? She stopped what she was doing and stared into space. Everything was far from all right, as it had ever been in her life. A lump rose in
Mm.
her throat, and her vision blurred behind sudden tears. It's like, and they're close in some ways, but they're so far in other ways,
Mm.
right? Like she can't, but then she does. I miss you, Dad. She choked out. She took a deep breath. I wish you would come home. His chair creaks. I'm sorry, honey, he said in a tired voice. I know all this is hard on you, but. And then she's crying, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. It kind of reminds me of when they followed him to his apartment, and then Stephen
Mm.
was like, so, can we have dinner? And Ned's like, nah. He's creating distance, you know? I
Mhm.
don't know. Chapter 6, we have the parent-teacher conference with Collins and Alice and Jessica, which is where Jessica's incredible lines that made me die happen. First of all, just telling Alice, I have a feeling this is a really deep-rooted problem. So you're gonna have to really talk to Mr. Collins. And Alice doesn't take it for a second. She's like, yeah, you too, you too. But then they go in, Jessica's like bragging about her mom, whatever. And then Collins is like, I think the problem here is a motivational one. You're smarter than you give yourself credit for, Jessica, but I'm pretty sure you just aren't trying very hard. That's so perceptive of you, Jessica agreed. She gave her mother an admiring expression. He really understands human psychology, don't you think? And then Alice raises her eyebrows and goes, with all due respect to your teacher's understanding, it doesn't take Sigmund Freud to see you don't care about your grades enough to make an effort. You're right, Jessica sighed. She appealed to Mr. Collins. She always gets right to the point. She's a real straight shooter. Incredible. It's like
That's
she
good.
doesn't take it. It's what's also so good about it is like what's so funny also is she doesn't for a second internalize any of it.
True.
It's like, oh, you need to work harder. Okay, how can I manipulate this? Oh, you're like she's not like worried at all about like what they're saying about her.
No. That is true. They're like, you're just not working very hard. You're not motivated. You're not a hard worker. She's like, isn't that
So
great? That's
smart,
so smart of
yeah.
you to notice that. I would be crying if this were happening. Just, I mean, I would have been sobbing from the moment I got the D until the end of my life, which probably would be soon thereafter. But like the fact that she just is like, nope, this is just more content that I can turn into what I want. She's brilliant.
Never forget my dissertation defense, which my mother and my sisters were present at, and which afterwards my mother said that she was very close to crying, and Davina said she almost had diarrhea because of how stressful it was when they were going at me. Story for another time. Okay. Chapter 7.
Wait, you don't
they
want the
find-
actual text of them going out, like so
Oh.
Jess is like, oh, I need
Yeah.
to go get something from my locker, leaves them alone. And then I'm gonna be honest, like, so Alice says, I'm afraid she's always been like this. She's not failing. There's no danger of that, but I know things at home are a bit unsettled, and I want to help Jessica if I can. That's very nice of you, Mr. Collins. Call me Roger. Okay, Roger, I really appreciate your concern. I do worry about how our family situation might affect the girls. Well, Jessica specifically. She acts as though it doesn't bother her, and frankly, that concerns me. I know what you're going through. I've been there myself. That's right. I'd forgotten about your divorce. You really do understand.
That's so
But
weird. That's a really weird thing to say. You really do understand. That's
I
very
mean,
strange.
all of it is weird. This is a
I
very,
think
very weird conversation to be having. But
I
it
think
gets,
that's the weird. To me, that takes a. To me, that was. Ugh. Go ahead.
listen, why don't we get together sometime? You could probably use a friend right now. It would do you good to take your mind off of things for a while and just enjoy yourself. Are you asking me for a date, Roger? Well, I wouldn't put it in those terms. Just two people going out to dinner and sharing some friendly conversation. Actually, that sounds wonderful. How about tomorrow night at Chez Sam? Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, you can say I wouldn't put it in those terms. He doesn't say it's not a date. They're going to Chez Sam the next night?
I completely agree. Like it's very 100% date coded. Also, because Chez Sam is like a fancy restaurant.
Yeah!
Like they're not going. Yeah, they're not going to Box Tree Cafe for a coffee. Like this
Yeah!
is like plus the movie afterwards. 100%, no question. I wonder why it says Jessica could tell from the tone of the conversation that neither one of them had romantic intentions. Like they want us to think that it's like legit friendly at this point, but it's not.
I'm not falling for that for a heartbeat.
It is funny that Jessica's scheme actually works because it's like, oh, you think it's so ridiculous. You know, her other attempts all flop, and then it's like, oh, how about Mr. Collins? And they actually do go out.
You're like, oh yeah. I mean, this to me felt like Collins has always wanted her and saw his opportunity and went for it.
That's what
Like,
it reads like. That's what it reads like.
I think even from
Yes.
the from accepting a parent teacher conference, I was like, oh, this feels fishy a little bit. Like, what are they going to talk about in a parent teacher conference?
Now I think you're taking it too far. Like, I don't
Well,
think it's out of line. And I'm not the educational
thank
professional.
you.
You're going to explain to me what the standards are. And of course, I'm going to ask when I get to the end of my long speech. I'm going to ask a question. But I would think, like, if the student is doing poorly and the parent says they want to speak to you, you're going to not speak to them. Even if the student's not doing poorly and the parent wants to speak to you, you're going to not speak to the parent. I mean, you're a university professor. I'm talking about high school.
What and part of?
You were, of course, a high school teacher. That's why you were always teaching Ibsen. Okay, what?
Um, so
Or
I to
Othello.
that's fine. I think it's totally reasonable for him to want to talk to Mrs. Wakefield. That would be a phone call. Probably like the day that she gets the paper, you call home and you say, hey, Mrs. Wakefield, I just wanted to touch base with you. Jess got a D on the most recent paper, and I'm concerned. I think it's mostly an issue of motivation, and I wonder if there's anything that I could do on my end. And I think that would be it.
But why is it so weird? So you're saying it wouldn't have been, first of all, also initiated by Mrs. Wakefield? Like it's weird that she would initiate? I'm like,
Well, I don't even
why?
think she initiated it. Jess initiated it.
No, but I think Jess made it seem like Mrs. Wakefield was concerned and wanted to talk to him, didn't she? Or maybe she didn't. Maybe I just imagine that. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. The whole
It's
thing.
weird.
But I
It's
don't
just
think it's
weird.
that crazy that the parent would come to school to talk to a teacher, especially small town. They live close. Like they probably go to stuff in person a lot. Plus, it's the 80s. I don't know. It's in person, you know? Not everyone's
It's
freaking working at home. They don't know from COVID. Okay.
it's weird. I
Not
mean,
everyone has their Zoom and their, you know, special lighting, etc.
but you know that Mr. Collins would.
That's true.
He would absolutely have a ring light.
Also, I was surprised when I saw this because I thought he was significantly younger than her. Like I pictured Collins as like 25 and her as like 38 or 39.
I think that's probably right.
But they don't, you would think that that would be unusual to where they would mention it.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, I
the
mean, I
fact
do
that they
think
don't
it's,
make sense. So I'm like, so are they closer in age? Like,
I think just for this moment.
okay, fine. All right.
Because Mrs. Dalton is young enough that it makes sense that she was fucking Ken.
Right.
So
And that Fowler would want to traffic her. You got to be pretty young for that.
I don't feel comfortable.
You think Fowler's trying to traffic middle-aged ladies like me?
I
No.
don't want to talk about this.
Like me and Alice? No.
It's weird to think
All
about
right.
you and Alice being the same age. Like the idea
I'm
that
older.
you
I am older.
and you could have twin 16-year-old girls right now.
I might. They could be out there somewhere. I don't know. I had some wild days. I had some wild years.
Wait,
Could have
what?
twins, triplets. Never know.
What?
You
Wait,
know
do
what
I
kids
not
have ever
understand?
running
I mean, I don't think I
around?
understand.
I tried to be safe. I tried to be responsible. But, sometimes after a couple of drinks, you do a little this, you do a little that, or condom breaks or something. You might pop out some twins or triplets somewhere you don't remember about. I don't know. It's little Rebecca's running around there. Who knows?
Well, are you talking about like they gestated within your body, you gave birth to them, and you don't remember?
Yeah, like that show, I didn't know I was pregnant, but it's like I didn't know I was pregnant and I forgot that I had a bunch of twins.
Yeah, so that's the confusing part. I could
Yeah.
see you as a great candidate for I didn't know I was pregnant. Absolutely 100%. I could see you.
Because I'm so, and I say this in a good way, fat.
Just because you're not that observant, you have a lot going on. I could see you sitting down at like a Hardee's or like a McDonald's bathroom, and you're like, "Oh, had a big meal," and then all of a sudden twins pop out. But I don't see you
It's so
forgetting
rude.
that.
You're so rude. I'd be less insulted if you said that I would notice it happening and then I don't forget. Or whatever. I mean, that I do forget it. I'd be less insulted. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, then they bump into each other at Chez Sam.
Because
Which also-
dad wants to take, so dad is like, I want to take the girls out to celebrate. Let's go to Chez Sam. And Jess is like, no, not Chez Sam, and gives a ton of reasons. And then it's kind of funny. And then they end up at Chez Sam. Anyways, we have a brief kind of confusion over what Elizabeth's going to order because they see Collins and Alice, and she just looks blank. And then they keep referring to the orange chicken. They mean chicken a l'orange, right? They don't mean orange chicken the way that we would mean. I mean, because Chez Sam is not serving Chinese food, right?
When I saw it, I was like, oh, so is this one of these restaurants that just has like a bunch of different type of cuisines?
Like a cheesecake
Like they have-
factory.
Yeah.
So the fancy
Like-
date restaurant is Cheesecake Factory? I mean, I love Cheesecake Factory, so I don't know why.
Well, it's not. It's Chez Sam, but like, you're right. I think no, but it's not chicken a l'orange, it's duck a l'orange. So you're telling me they changed that to chicken and then forgot to take the law out? That just sounds like a lot of steps. Maybe it
Well-
really is like Chinese style orange chicken. I'm not saying I think that's a smart way to put together a menu.
Okay.
And if this
good.
was that
'Cause
show
it's-
Bar Rescue or whatever, or restaurant freaking takeover, whatever those shows are called, I'd go in there and I'd say, guys, no. All right.
Now, I did not warn you about my heart out because I thought there was no way that I would need to. But alas, we've been talking for 2 hours,
When's you're out? When's you're out?
9 minutes.
They bump into each other at Chez Sam. It's like, should we join each other, whatever? And then they join each other. They talk about like the mayor race, and then they go to the
And then as they get up to leave, we were planning to catch a 9 o'clock movie. Why don't we all go? Mr. Collins said. What an insane thing to say. I mean, what a truly remarkably strange thing to say.
It depends on who suggested they all ate together. Because I feel like if Alice suggested that they all joined, because Alice and him talked before they went over there, right? So if Alice was the one who suggested, like, hey, to make this easier for the kids, I feel like, no, he did.
Why
How
don't
do
you
you know
join us?
Alice
Mr.
would
Wakefield asked. He gave Collins a friendly smile. It's not a private party.
No, but so then it's not Collins's fault. Mr. Wakefield asked. So Collins feels he should defer to them to decide what's appropriate. He's trying to. No, I actually think if Mr. Wakefield suggested it, he's there with Mrs. Wakefield, they're separated and their children. He should defer to what the parents want.
Right, but then he should not invite everyone to a 9 o'clock movie.
But maybe he thought this is what Alice and Ned, like, it is actually making it. I agree, the whole thing's inappropriate. Also, obviously, if it's a 9 o'clock movie, again, it's obviously a date, but yeah, it's
And it's
weird.
way too late for high school girls to be going to a movie. High school anybody.
Yep. I mean, actually, I don't agree on that. It's not that big a deal. Okay. It's notable that Alice makes a kind comment to Ned during this time that they're all at dinner, like when they're talking about the mayor thing. She's like, anyone would know that you are the wonderful one to vote for. And Liz is being like, ooh. Okay, then we get the Scooby-Doo moment in the next chapter, I think.
What's the Scooby-Doo moment?
It's like where Knapp has what I started calling villain verbal diarrhea.
Oh yeah. Ruh-roh. He's talking to Cy Robertson.
Like, you know how in Scooby-Doo it's always like, ooh, like it's like this is every Scooby-Doo cartoon. There's a mystery and like, what is it? And like, is it a ghost? Is it a supernatural? Like, no, it's a wealthy industrialist who is like planted some fake skeleton or planted some prank to pretend it's a ghost, to like trick everyone into thinking it's a ghost, to like devalue the land so he can like buy it for cheap and build a bunch of hotels. That is every single Scooby-Doo. And that is basically this book. It's like they overhear Knapp and Robertson being like, okay, like we are going to like get this guy under our control so that we can be like, ha ha ha, doing our big real estate plans, which is our big oceanfront development. And the kids are like, no, and not our beautiful Sweet Valley coastline, but according to their maps and documents, these are our buoys and these are our lighthouse. That's
It takes them forever to connect that. They're like,
they're
wait,
so dumb.
this looks like our beach. And it's like, well, what else would it be?
Also, they have the disease of which I know this has to be a thing sometimes, but again, I prefer when they can find a reason that's believable-ish for it, for them to be
Yeah.
like, they get all this information, they hear all this stuff, and they're like, what do we do? Like, oh, well, we can't tell an adult because we don't have any evidence. So first we have to like find evidence.
Yeah.
So, and then they even find the evidence, and they're like, but we don't totally understand these documents, so I guess we should figure out something. They're like, well, why don't we talk to Ned, who, by the way, is also a lawyer? It's like, ugh.
And that's exactly what
Whatever.
happens.
And then it's Josh Hartnett, and then it's over. Everything's fine.
The only thing that I do need to touch on is the other guy that Jess tries to set her mom up
Yes.
with is
Oh my God,
Ramon Valdez. And Jess kind of walks up and is like, what are you talking about? She's like bringing up her mom. He says, I'm sorry about your parents. Jess says, don't be. They're both so happy with the decision. Mom loves being single again. And Ramon goes, you know, that's very interesting. I really like being single too. I can do what I want and go where I want. I know it sounds selfish, but I like not having to check in with anyone about what I'm doing. It's just me and my cats. I can't imagine being without my cats. They're Siamese, very finicky, of course, but I like that. They're very dignified, very opinionated. Estrella, that's the female, has such a personality. She has to have everything just the way she likes it, or she gives me the cold shoulder. And Maximilian, he thinks he's the boss at home, let me tell you. Yes, there was this one time when Estrella decided the only place she wanted to sleep was on my pillow, but. And then even Jess is like, oh, I guess we're not going to set up the homo with my mom. And it's like, gotta go, never mind. Bye, homo. Bye,
That was
gay.
really, really funny. That
It's
was very funny.
hilarious. And then we get the whole Josh Hartnett of it all.
Yeah. And then Alice and Ned have a big hug afterwards and then a kiss and they're back together. And then Ned wins, or no, and then
Nope.
Ned drops out and then Peter Santelli wins and everyone's happy. And then there's a really random cliffhanger.
There's a really random cliffhanger. There's like the chemistry plot of trying to get Ned to drop out. He's like, there'll always be a doubt in people's minds about the fact that I'm connected to Knapp and Robertson. I'm just as guilty as they are. And it's like, what?
Wait, no, you aren't.
It makes
Wait,
no.
he says that?
He
says, "I'm just as
literally
guilty."
says, I'm just as guilty as Knapp and Robertson. I let them influence me. Sweet Valley doesn't need an idiot for a mayor. And I do agree with the very last point. And he is an idiot.
I agree with
But it's
that
like,
too.
what?
It's ridiculous. Again, I think we need his secret diary to understand what really happened.
Yeah. So he withdraws from the race. We already talked about all of this. We don't care. And
No,
then
it's done. It's done.
we get this cliffhanger, which I think basically the whole point is just breathe easy. This whole little mini subplot of the parents breaking up is over. They're back together, and we can go back to focusing on regularly scheduled nothing like, don't you think it's romantic, Dana? Maria asked. Dana sat back and said cynically, I don't believe in romance, she said. So she says it twice. Dana, who was the lead singer for the Sweet Valley High's most popular band, The Droids, was prone to dramatic statements. Come on, you don't mean that, Enid said gently. I don't. That's news to me. Don't you believe in love? Elizabeth asked. No, I don't. Elizabeth was surprised. She wondered if there was a way to convince Dana that she was wrong, because for some reason, she cares if Dana believes in love or not. What could that reason be? Give me anything that's not lesbianic, I dare you. Can Elizabeth change Dana's mind about love? And why would you possibly care? Find out in Sweet Valley High number 68, The Love Bet.
I think it's also their way of telling us, like, you know, Ned's honor was restored, and now we also are seeing that Elizabeth's faith in love is restored, because she was previously being the one who's, I'm not believing
Very
in love, and
good.
love is always ending in heartbreak,
That's
and I'm
true.
having that stance. So now by taking the stance towards Dana of like, ooh, that's something that must be fixed, means she's already been fixed.
That's true. That's a
Yeah,
good
who
read.
cares? Like literally, who cares?
I mean,
I
that
don't.
made me care a little, so thank you.
But the next one is, I don't know, whatever.
That's a love bet. And listeners, if you are at your heart out and need to get off of your podcast record with your friend because you have another meeting, maybe you say,
Yeah.
hey, let's wait a second. And before I jump off, let's send the podcast to a friend. Let's like and rate and review and subscribe.
Okay.
But you're not gonna, you have
mouse.
nothing? You have nothing?
No, I'm stressed out. If you have a mouse, just know that like you are resilient and you are beautiful, and like that mouse cannot get you, and like
You're
you will survive.
beautiful. You don't
You
need
are
no
natural
makeup.
makeup or all those things. Since I actually like girls who are even the natural ones.
Sweet Valley Hive. Okay, love you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Sweet Valley Hive, hosted by Robert Marks and Rebecca Pardo. For more, check out our Instagram at Sweet Valley Hive. Theme song by Yessie and artwork by Elliot Carroll.